Ekumenopolis News Center presents an Istanbul story.
Towards the end of the Ottoman Empire, Istanbul was a quasi-colonial capital. City services were owned by private capital. The heart of the city was beating in Beyoğlu. With the local trains, Istanbul was expanding slowly towards the outskirts. The Bosphorus was the wealthy hangout. With the declaration of the Republic in 1923, capital left Istanbul. In 1929, there was a global economic crisis. Private capital was weak. Industrialization was in state hands. As public factories were built in Anatolia, the railroad networks were strengthened. Despite limited resources, public transportation in Istanbul was enhanced, until they asked a French urban planner to make a new urban plan. Henry Prost devised a city with large boulevards full of cars, with industry cluttered around the Golden Horn. The victor of World War II, the USA gave a hand to this plan with the Marshall Funds. Under Prime Minister Menderes, the tramways were replaced by asphalt that cut through the city center. The shelving of land reform by the Democratic Party and mechanization in agriculture left farmers without work. They would become the cheap labor for the private factories mushrooming in Istanbul. There was an unspoken pact between the classes. Neither the state nor the bosses provided housing for workers. Instead, they were allowed to build squatter housing called gecekondos. With the opening of the first Bosphorus Bridge in 1973, the gecekondu neighborhoods flourished along the E5 highway. As the middle classes moved towards the suburbs, car traffic went up by 6 times in 15 years. In the meantime, the business center of the city took a leap northward. There was another global economic crisis in the 70s. Suddenly, Turgut Özal returned to Turkey with the Latin American economic model. The military coup of 1980 implemented this model, which was to be called neoliberalism. As the public investments of the Republic were privatized, the budgets of the municipalities were pumped up. The workers had become poorer. Özal told them to move up to the middle class by allowing the legalization of their gecekondu neighborhoods. So, the new migrants would become tenants of these new middle-class workers. The biggest present of the era was the second Bosphorus Bridge that opened in 1988. Not only new gecekondu neighborhoods were built, but also shopping malls and gated communities of the wealthy sprang up in the forest areas. The car was now engraved in the culture. The business center now moved even further north. In the 1990s, the world was singing the global city song. Neoliberalism bore its fruits. The capital accumulated with the widening income gap was invested in real estate. New bubbles were inflated. The industry that remained would move outside the city to exploit cheap labor, and the city would be turned into a consumer heaven inhabited by service sector workers. In the 2000s, Istanbul was officially being marketed. TOKİ, the Turkish Mass Housing Administration, and the municipalities, empowered by special laws, started transferring the vacated industrial estates, public schools, hospitals, and worker neighborhoods to domestic and foreign capital. The workers pushed out to the isolated islands of poverty in the periphery of the city will now become the service workers of the new global city. This greedy vision based on real estate speculation, shopping mall frenzy, and the construction of identical concrete slabs not only takes Istanbul away from its inhabitants under the guise of a touristic, financial, and cultural center, but also requires the plunder of the northern forests. With the third and other future bridges to be built to satisfy this invasion, Istanbul will turn into a concrete Ekumenopolis, devoid of water reservoirs, forests, and our common areas. In the end, this eerie city without limits will swallow us all.